HB 35 will help eliminate the unjust conditions in modern deportation centers. It will ensure proper space, fair treatment, a connection to loved ones, and better health. Cost should not be the main deterrent in human rights.
We need to put our money into fixing the underlying immigration problem instead of masking it. Funding to fix and improve deportation centers will only encourage more illegal immigration to our country, which will cost millions of dollars that we don't have.
I don't find it fair that those who have come to this country illegally get to take jobs away from American citizens who are truly and rightfully here.
I feel sick to know that some of us will argue the cost of this bill rather than valuing the human life at hand. Please reevaluate your priorities. This is clearly not okay.
Wisconsin Eye is at Middleton High School, interviewing students who participated in the legislative semester. Please give us your name and your party affiliation.
My name is Tanvi Tillu, and I am a Democrat.
I'm Finn Bourne, and I'm also a Democrat.
Now, tell us about the issue.
The whole issue was that deportation centers currently in the U.S. are where people who have come here undocumented are sent if they are caught here undocumented, obviously. And it's kind of like the midpoint in the process of either being deported or becoming a resident or a citizen. And there is a chance to get out, but the whole problem is when people are in there, they're being abused, and there are many examples of sexual assault and just battery and just people not being treated right by the employees, and also the conditions of those centers are just absolutely awful, and we wanted that to change so that people could be people again.
I highly doubt the people living in these centers actually want to be there. If they're being forced to live there, they might as well be able to feel safe and cared for during their time there.
So how was the bill put?
Yeah, the bill was made so that it would be reformed to a transitional immigrant housing facility,
okay,
which is TIHF, they would name it as that. And it would have facilities like education for the children of the undocumented immigrants, and the people who would be deported there would be allowed to work until the time they're there. So yeah.
Why did you choose this issue to get so involved in and to do so much research on? Tanvi, you want to go first?
At first, when I read the bill, I thought it had a positive intention, but when I started researching about it, I thought it was not attacking the real issue. I thought that immigration, the process of immigration needs reform, not detention, because as a country, we have the right to allow who comes to our country and who doesn't. And I know that America is a land of immigrants, and I know that it will give more than what it has to immigrants who come here legally. But I don't think it can't, and I mean, does not need to cater to those who don't have the means to come here legally.
My family's origin is from Germany. My grandparents immigrated legally to the United States after they survived the brutality of World War II. With this being said, I know many people who have immigrated here legally. Although it is difficult to immigrate to the United States, it can be done. My grandparents feel frustrated whenever they hear about illegal immigrants coming to the U.S. because they worked very hard to earn their right to live in this country.
50 to Representative Bob.
And you got so interested, Finn? Because?
Because people are people and you can't abuse them, and I'm just going to go off the principle of treat people as you wish to be treated. And if you're abusing people and then saying that you are all about freedom and equality, then I don't think that we deserve the name Land of the Free if we're mistreating people who are just trying to come here and help.
We need to treat these illegal immigrants like humans, like every single person in this room. Currently, all the people running away from their said country, they come here because they dream of not being tortured. They're currently rape victims in these centers that aren't receiving help. Is that what America's about? No.
There's always going to be illegal immigration, and there's always going to be these deportation centers for the people who are like that. And we're trying to make it so those people don't have to fear it if they are caught, and they can be safe rather than being abused.
The centers are not only killing people, but many of the people residing for them are harassed, raped, and assaulted by the caretakers. For example, according to a Huffington Post, in one facility in Carson City, Texas, at least 3 employees there were engaged in harassment and abuse of female detainees. Employees promised women help and money in exchange for sexual favors.
So, how did you research your issue? Finn, it's your turn to go first.
I just typed in on Google deportation centers, and right away I just came up with things from ACLU and just like even I think National Geographic about these centers, and immediately there was not a positive view on these. Especially after I looked at the pictures from some of them, from supplied by ACLU or just even Google Images, you're just kind of like, oh wow, I can't believe this is happening in my own country, and I can't believe we're allowing this to happen to these people. So I just went on Google and I was like blown away from what I saw.
Tammy?
I typed into Google who were sent to deportation centers, and then I came across a variety of newspapers like the Wall Street Journal, or like there was one newspaper named Marshall. Do you know about it? And then there were other government websites which describe how the process of detention is done. So that is how I came to know who exactly are sent to deportation centers and how long they have to stay there and why they are sent where they are sent.
Most interesting fact that you found in your research on this issue. Tanvi, your turn.
I think the most interesting fact would be the one when I found out that the deportation centers have been in place in the system right from the 1800s. I didn't know that. They were initially meant for immigrants who came from Haiti Island, and so I think that was pretty interesting that we have had these in place for so long.
Finn?
I wouldn't say there are many interesting facts. I'd say it's really more dark facts.
Okay.
Because I found out that there have been 107 recorded deaths in these centers in only a span of 3 years. And I mean, that's just from the recorded stuff, because apparently the ICE has been covering up a lot of stuff. And also about those deaths, there was one of them where one man was taken out of his cell and he was beaten so badly by the caretakers, and he was thrown in a cell and he just died due to his injuries because of these caretakers just beating him. So I think that would be probably the most powerful fact that I found.
Isn't the larger issue here whether America shouldn't reform its laws on immigration? Isn't that the bigger issue?
Yeah, that is what I was exactly thinking when I read this bill. And I also found out that Obama has already announced immigration reform, where he proposes that felons, not families, will be deported. So I don't think you have to pamper criminals so much. If only criminals are going to be sent there, you don't have to give their children, children are not going to be sent there anyway. So you don't have to reform detention centers which are meant for criminals. That is what I think.
20 seconds to Representative Phillips.
These illegal immigrants do not need to be treated like royalty. They came here and immediately broke our immigration policy. We should not spend more money making these people feel more comfortable.
Flynn, she's kind of gotten into the merits of the issue, so go ahead. Bring your best argument.
I just want to say that it's not so much about these people being illegal, like coming here illegally. It's because they're coming here from places where they are not treated right in their own countries because of bad leaders or an economic downturn. They're just seeking out a better life. So they come here, but they simply do not have the means to come here illegally yet. And they're obviously going to try, because if they want to come here, I'm sure they would do everything it would take to become a citizen, but it's just really difficult for them, so they come here undocumented. And the bigger issue, yeah, immigration, sure, that would probably help out with a lot of things, but these places are always going to exist, because illegal immigration will be a thing as long as it's illegal to come here like undocumented, because people are always going to be fleeing things, such as like if something happened, like things were in the Middle East. Like, I'm not saying that ISIS is going to go down to South America, but I mean, there could be another like guerrilla war. There's guerrilla warfare down there, and they could be fleeing it.
Now tell me what you mean when you say they should be punished for what they did. Do you mean the Garcia family who was ripped apart after their father was murdered in these facilities? Or do you mean the Sanchez family who has their hair falling out due to malnutrition? The least we can do for people who are working hard to become an integral part of our society is to make them feel safe. It should be abundantly clear that HB 35 aims to do just this and turn prisons into homes and detainees into strong communities. We aren't changing immigration at all, just the way we treat people. I urge you to not vote as a Democrat or Republican, but as a human. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
So this bill was offered by you Democrats. You're both Democrats. You supported and you were against it. Did you just think the bill as it was put, it was the wrong answer, Tanvi?
Yes, I was against the bill, not the idea itself.
Okay.
I am completely for immigration reform because I know I'm an immigrant myself, and I know how important it can be for a person in his life to come to America and have the opportunities that he or she would get in this country. But I don't think this bill is the answer.
Thank you, Representative Tully. America will offer more than what it has to offer to illegal immigrants, but it does not and cannot and does not need to cater to illegal immigrants.
Was there a price tag attached to this bill? In your research, did you come up with any numbers of how many hundreds of millions or billions it might cost to reform these centers?
Well, yeah, but okay, for the funding, you need money to obviously create the new centers, which was estimated around $22 million per center, and because there are 80 of them in the United States, that would add up to I think it's like $1,760,000,000, and then but if it's divided by the population of the United States, it ends up just being $5.51 for every tax-paying citizen, which really isn't that much, especially considering it's a one-time payment. So there's no other payments on that, and people already pay for these centers in their taxes right now. So it wasn't to me, funding was not an issue at all.
Okay. Talk about the program, legislative semester. What did you learn overall? Did you like it? You're both sophomores?
I'm a junior.
You're a junior, thank you. But, so talk about the program.
Legislative semester was just a way to show kids what it's like to actually be in the legislature, because a lot of us aren't probably ever going to be there, and therefore we won't really understand it like it is, but this is a class to put us in the position of the people who are in the legislature, and it can show us how, where the flaws are and where the strengths are, and it can give us a good idea on more how to vote better, I guess, and also to listen to the people who are speaking on these bills and look at the bills themselves before you vote on people, or just make sure you know you're informed. That's pretty much the biggest message of this class.
Thank you. Tanvi?
I would say that I moved here from India this January, and it was a huge leap for me, and this legislative semester was a completely 180-degree change from what I used to learn politics in India. So this was a really, I can't describe it how different and how intriguing it was to be a part of this process, and I would love to be in this semester again.
Would you ever consider, either of you, running for office? Tanvi?
I feel if there's an issue which gets me so much, I would probably consider.
Finn?
I don't know if I'd ever run for office, just because I'm not really too big into arguing with people, and it seems like there's a lot of that going on right now. So, maybe if it changed one day where it's people who work together rather than argue all the time, I might consider it.
But you're both telling freshmen that legislative semester is a very valuable program and something you can learn, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Tanvi and Finn, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.